Dad, living in Southern California in the 1980s, tells me a bunch of weird stories all the time, but is adamant this is the only one he could not explain. Be him, poor college student, walking home from laundromat, tells me it was a misty night, eerily quiet. Sees this cop parked up, standing outside his car. His door is swung open, flashlight pointed at some paper he is reading. Sees this other, also uniformed cop walk out from the darkness behind him. Other cop unholsters his gun, points it behind the other cop's head, who does not notice him at all. Bang. My dad just fucking freezes, and he drops the clothes he was bringing to his car. Just stares in fucking awe, around 100 feet away. Can't believe he saw this cop get fucking domed by another cop. Other cop gets in the now dead cop's car, drives away. Dad freaks the fuck out, unsure what to do. Goes to check up on the cop, rolls him over. Tells me his nose was just missing and chunks of his brain and head were everywhere. Distinctly remembers name tag with Ruford on it and a fist-sized birthmark on his neck. Runs into the laundromat, leaving bloody footprints, and tells the shop owner to call 911. Owner is an old Asian lady who is even more freaked out than my dad. She peers out the window and sees the body and starts crying hysterically. Both just waiting for cops to arrive for over 10 minutes. Body just laying outside, seemingly as if nothing happened. Eventually, he sees 5 cop cars in a perfect line driving down the road. No lights, no sirens, lined up like some convoy. They all get there and instantly lift the body into a trunk. Dad tells me he's no law enforcement specialist, but he knew damn well there is no protocol for that. Starts freaking out even more, thinking he's just witnessed some high-level corruption shit. Cops don't even enter the building and question him. Tells me he got questioned by the cops this one time some grandma called the cops on some skaters. They see him staring from inside the building. Goes outside, asks them if they need his side of the story. Won't be necessary, sir. We have it under control. As quickly as they arrived, they are gone again. Blood all cleaned up too. Asked the owner if she just saw what he did. Dad tells me she responded in her strong Viet accent. I've never seen anything like this. Dad just goes home afterwards. Told me he stayed up all night thinking about what he saw. Tells me it was at that moment he got somewhat of a reality check. Says at that point he realized that when people die, it's nothing like the movies. Has enormous suspicions he just witnessed some targeted killing or corruption. Goes to the police station a few days later, asking to speak to the highest authority to get some feeling of peace. Eventually, the captain says he can speak with him. Dad was from a good family, so he said that probably greased the wheel some. Captain sits in a room with him, asking what he needs. Dad tells him the whole story, saying he could call in the store owner if he needed to. Captain just responds in a calm manner. I'm very sorry, Anon's dad, but nothing happened that day. Dad says, what the hell do you mean nothing happened? I heard the bang. I saw the body. Hell, the blood is on my carpet. The captain does not budge. Responds again in almost a memorized manner. I'm very sorry, sir, but those events never happened. If you have any other questions, you can come again. I've got matters to attend to. Dad is just flustered and decides to leave. Starts wondering if he just had a bad dream. Looks toward the window of the room as he is about to leave. Sees a face looking at them both. His eyes widen and his heart starts racing. It's fucking Ruford. Same hair, same neck birthmark, same skin tone. Dad says as soon as he saw him, he continued walking down the hallway, pretending he was not watching. Dad tells the captain it is him, the guy that died. Captain says that he is wasting his time at this point and must leave. Dad says he must have an identical twin or something that shot him. Captain says now if he doesn't leave, he will arrest my dad. Dad is just simultaneously exhausted, confused, and frustrated he is not being taken seriously. Just decides to try and leave and forget about the whole thing. Begins to leave and walks toward the crowded and noisy waiting area as it was a big station serving a large area. As he is getting into his car, looking toward the front, he sees Ruford. The man flashes him a big, stereotypically creepy grin. Says the cop put a finger gun up to his own head, pulled his thumb down like he's pulling the trigger, and then he laughed. Dad is a big-time hippie, but he bought a small gun before going home. Tells me he still thinks about it to this day. Here is some OC I've shared before. Every time I share it, bastards call me crazy, so I will state at the beginning for the illiterate. Multiple witnesses experienced the haunting in the same apartment. Because of my experience, I have a phobia of pitch black space. I have an instant fear of any space that is pitch black, like closets, doorways, etc. Be me. Be 16 years old. Dad, stepmom and stepbro live in an apartment together. Guy we bought house from casually mentioned that a rabbi died in a hallway in front of my bedroom door. Lovely. At night laying in bed, trying to sleep. Hear voices from the hallway. Calming noise actually, like chatter at a large party where you can't pick up what people are saying. It's just human words as noise. Soothing noise. Suddenly realize the noise is coming from a hallway that is upstairs with a large staircase, so the voices would have to be hanging in the air above the staircase. Well, that's odd. Chalk it up to overactive imagination. That happens every single night. Be in deep denial about paranormal encounters to the point looking back. I think something was smothering any thoughts to be wary and view things as real so I could not get help. While laying in bed drifting off, voices stop. In corner of room, see a giant black ball of deep blackness, 10 feet tall and wide, with writhing smoke tentacles that circle it. See that in the corner of the room every single night when I tried to sleep. Filled with overwhelming fear and sensing lethal evil from this thing, the more fear I feel. The more I try to calm myself and tell myself it's my imagination, it seems to sense my attempts and amps up the fear. Forces images of monsters into my mind. The images are obviously made up and like cardboard cutouts, flat and don't move. Nothing compared to the highly detailed black mass I say. Convince self it is not real because the acceptance of it as a reality would be too much. Few weeks later, father frantically starts cleansing the home every 2 weeks with burning sage. His eyes are wide, on his face is fear. This is a man who does not fear hardly anything. Everyone is acting on edge. People snap at each other and get angry easily. Stepmother jokes about a haunting, then looks around in fear. Pomeranian shithead dog growls at a corner in the living room. Eventually tell Dad I hear voices. Get therapist who gives me drugs. Drugs stop voices, but I still see shadow thing every single night in exact same spot. Don't tell Dad about it because scared drugs might lessen my ability to see it, but not its effects on me. A monster you can see is better that way than an invisible thing that feeds on fear. Live in house for 2 years. Fall into deep depression during that time. Emotions very muted, like brain is in a fog 24/7. Insomnia constantly. Obsessed with comedy shows and stay up late watching things that make me laugh. Stepmom starts emotional abuse, so I stay in room when not at school. Only leave room for food, bathroom, and water. Thing only appears specifically when laying in bed trying to sleep, so sleep as little as possible and convince self it is just my imagination. More detailed than anything I've ever imagined, and clear as day and vivid. Just my imagination. Stepbrother, I think, knows something is off with me. Always looks at me wide-eyed, like I'm going to bite him. Be weirdo already, so weirdo with no emotion in voice or facial expressions was probably creepy 1,000-fold. Dad and stepmom can't take whatever it is that's causing them to be on edge all the time. They never told me what it did to them, what they saw in their bedroom at night. They move us all out to a house. Dad tells me years later that a very legitimate psychic friend of the family said the sage did not work because the entity could move into the neighbor's apartment, wait 2 weeks for the sage to wear off, then came back. The lady somehow knew, without ever visiting the property, it did exactly that, and always came back after 2 weeks sage was burned. Year later, watched Dead Files. Holy shit, they describe the thing exactly like what I saw. Holy shit, I did not imagine it. Psychic on show says thing is like a pre-shadow man, before it turns into a full shadow man. The tornado of darkness feeds on different negative emotions, but each one feeds on one specific emotion type. Realize, mine fed on fear. The thing causes auditory hallucinations, like the voices. It causes visual hallucinations, like the obviously fake monsters. It can force people to feel emotions like fear, like how I fought off fear that built the more I fought every single night. Be puzzled looking back, and wonder why I didn't try to get help, and was so convinced while I was there that it was not real. Now convinced the thing messed with my mind to convince me no matter what that it was fake, because you don't need to ask for help if your experience is just all in your head. Then you are left as the perfect, helpless prey. Work at gas station. Little shitty box version, like outside department stores, etc. The box I am in is basically concrete, steel, rebar, and 3 inches bulletproof glass. Company spent a lot on this tank-like box. Pretty much after a certain hour and day, like 10ish, would lock all vending areas, coolers, etc., and just sell gas till morning shift came in. At this point, no reason to get out of box, all is prepay, etc., etc. Q12ish AM, little old beater of car pulls up. Out gets old lady, Asian, with the 70+, short Asian, tiny and furious look. Comes to window, surprisingly polite. Launch weird shite. She starts looking at closed coolers, locked carts, etc., like she's browsing at shit she can't see or get to. Looks at me. Oh, the horror. Can't describe it well, but her face, it was like she had all of her skin replaced. I mean, the complexion, the meshing of it was all wrong. This bitch had mole spots on her hands, and her old lady dress showed me her wrinkly old legs as well. But her face, and worse, her smile. Ever seen those fuckers with the perfect fake teeth that seem to have no excuse but to give you a big look the fuck at me smile? That is this lady. So her face looks like someone copy-pasted it onto her. The smile says, look at me, I am harmless. That shit-eating smile. Walks up the window, starts tapping on glass. Ask her if she needs anything. Cue fucking smile again. Say she needs to refuel. Ask her if she knows what to do. Replies with a dragged out, oh, yes. Raised eyebrow, but okay. Ask her for prepay amount, pay type, etc. She looks at me. I forgot my purse, I'll be right back. Watched her get to a car, bend down into it to get a purse or what the fuck ever. She bends down, partially out of view. Bends down further. Fucking gone. Can't see her. 5 minutes go by. No creepy face lady. Time to kick it up a notch, says my fear. Scrapping at door. Soft rapping. Mind you, the door is the only way in and out of this box. Tap tap. Tap tap tap. From register. Stare with fear at peephole that's in door. Decide to not look at murder hole of death. All of my fear in full effect. Then, scraping on the roof. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. Same as before. Brain goes in overdrive. What if something wants in, like it's in the movies? What happens in scary movies? Big evil what's-it examines walls, weak spots, etc. Oh shit, fuck me. Brain is making it worse for me. Decide to call office and store. They can see my station, etc. Let them clear my scared out head. Fucking jitters, remembering the shit. Call office. How about this weather, etc. Desk lady says, what weather? You know, the wind, blowing shit around outside, etc. Anon, what weather? It's as calm as can be outside. What about, I fumble. It's a beautiful night, Anon. Relax. No storms, lol. Hear slight shifting / walking around sounds. Although, is everything okay out there, Anon? Why? I stutter into the phone. The western side lights are completely out. I can't speak. Along with your back pole light. Pole light is the parking light that's in most parking lots, etc. Only one near me for about, 40-ish feet around me till customer parking starts. Anywho, at this moment, I realized my folly. The phone in little box was in backup box behind privacy niche for counting cash, etc. Look around niche. Where the fuck's the light god? Only few lights on, so I can see in front of me at closed coolers, etc. And who the fuck is there? Little creepy Asian lady. Her face, in that mismatched looking complexion. That fucking smile. Anon, I can't reach my purse, it fell. In my head I'm like, bitch, it's been 10 minutes. Anon, she goes, can you come outside to get it for me? I mutter, I can't. As you can see, having electrical issues, etc. Bullshit excuse, I know, but I'm in full X panic. Oh please, Anon, she says, I'm so old and weak. That smile. Sorry, can't leave. This is too big. Bullshit excuse about emergency, etc. Wrong thing to say. Smile fucking vanishes. Come outside, she says. Slight rasp in her words now. Can't, I stutter. This is where I cross over. This is where I fucking believe, like Scully and Mulder. This little old lady. This fucked up face, little old lady, maybe 5'5" at best. She stares at me, with all of her fury, and she gets as close as she can to the window, and she slams her fist onto it. Once. I mean fucking once, and grumbles something like, fuel food, hodgepodge together. And I shit you not, the glass cracked. Not like hair crack, I mean crack. On one of my days off before, some meth head took a shot at the glass with a .38. Glass was replaced, but I saw it. It was a good crack, embedment, etc. This though, it was like this lady put a 12-gauge slug 2 inches away and fired. I fucking lose it. Pick up phone, call office, say, emergency. Cops show up. Night manager comes running. I'm in the back, fucking pale and waiting. Hiding really. Pound on door. It's manager Anon with PD, open up. Q hours later, and Q fucked up shit. Lights are back to normal. Cameras apparently did not catch anything. Said the storm must have knocked them out or something. Yeah, okay. Then look at glass. Go home Anon, see you tomorrow. Manager covers shift. Go home with cross, Bible, in 1911. Q next day. The box looks like shit. Scratches everywhere. Door has paint stripped off in streaks. Chunks are missing from sides of box roof like something climbed it. Manager says there's actually a hole in the roof that is 1 inch from tiles, etc. Squeak a yay sarcastically. Manager asks what happened. Says the PD may want my statement if it's suspicious, etc. Nope the fuck away from him. Say must have been weather, etc. Manager looks after me. Yeah, I think so too Anon. Switched to different department after that. Everyone asked me for years about that story, wanting to hear how I was shot at. The worst thing is, I've heard that there was an employee who covered the shift after me. She stayed until last year, and since I left the company, I was out of touch. Visited recently. How's it going, etc. They say she went missing last year. That she opened the door in her shift and walked out the back door. The computer system went out. The cameras too. She is still missing. Fucked up thing is, the guy working said the only lead that they had was this fucked up beater of a car that was briefly seen driving away from bank camera across the street. Does anyone have any spooky McDonald stories? I got one. It's the time I interacted with a skinwalker. It was a cloudy, rainy day. My house is just a block away from McDonald's. You could get there on foot in like 5 minutes. I was 14 at the time and did not have a car, nor anyone willing to drive me to Mickey D's, so I walked there. I walked to the McDonald's and enter. There is only a few workers and 3 customers in the building, including me. There are 2 other people standing in line, so I get behind them. The guy in the middle of the line / in front of me was off. He was about 5'11", wore a dirty grey hoodie and worn-looking jeans, both of which seemed to have little splotches of mud on them. Both of his shoes were untied, but he took the laces into his shoes. As I stood in line, I noticed that he was awkward in his stance and would change the way he stood every 10 seconds or so. It's now his turn to order. He walks like he's on stilts almost. He is off balance and his gait changes with each step. He reaches the counter and the Mickey D employee asks for his order. His order was 8 chicken McSpicies from the dollar menu. Nothing else. No drink, no fries. The whole time he was ordering, his voice kept cracking like every other word. That will be $8 plus tax. He proceeds to hand the employee his whole wallet. Should I open it and take the 8 out, or? He gives him a blank stare. The employee opens the wallet and takes the $8 out, then tries to hand it back to him. No reaction for about 15 seconds. Then he tries to take the wallet from employee. He reaches up and misses it before grabbing at it again. The employee lets go of it and it falls onto the counter. He doesn't even look at it and just walks away, leaving his wallet on the counter. He stumbles over to a chair and sits down. Think he's just a crackhead or something, and order myself some McNasties. Got a Big Mac combo large with a box of tenders and some sweet and sour with honey mustard sauce. As I finish my order, Weird Guy's order is ready. 8 chicken McSpicies on a tray. He stumbles over to the counter, grabs the tray after missing the sides of it once or twice, picks it up and starts stumbling towards the bathroom. He opens the door and walks into the bathroom with a tray of McSpicies. Me and employee look at each other, both thinking he's just high or something. I pay, then sit down and wait 5 minutes, then grab my food and start eating. Nearly done with meal and need to piss. Get up and walk to bathroom. Open door and it's pitch black. It was one of those ones that have a light timer that auto turns off after a certain amount of time. Creepy, I thought, as I turned the knob to full and headed over to a urinal. As I approach the urinal, I can hear the guy in the further stall eating his food, and it's audible, like I can hear every bite. Out of curiosity, I bend down a little to see if there was a wrapper in the stall. Instead, I see he's sitting on the floor of the stall with 3 or 4 McChickens in front of him. I get the chills and unzip my pants to start pissing. I start pissing, making sure to hit the porcelain and not the water because I do not want to anger the crackhead. Light turns off because timer ran out, now pitch black. Still pissing and the knob is just out of reach. Eating noises stop. All quiet, bar the slight noise of piss hitting the urinal. Panic. Trying to speed up piss so I can get the fuck out. It feels like a lifetime. I hear the door to stall swing open and hitting the wall next to it just as I zipped up my pants. Holy fuck, get me out of here. Leap to the entrance door and charge through it. Can hear footsteps rapidly approaching from behind. Land on the other side where the staff are looking at me like I am crazy. Bathroom entrance door is closed now, but I'm on the ground bracing for it to swing open and have some druggie jump up on me. Silence. Not even a bang on the entrance door. Employee asks me what's wrong. I tell him there is a fucking crackhead in the bathroom. Grab my reaming fries and get the fuck out of there. I leave the building and see the employee walking towards the bathroom. Continue walking home. It's still overcast and raining. Get home and start fucking around on Xbox. Finish fries while calling people slurs on GTA. And that was a while ago. I still don't know if I met a skinwalker or if it was just a super crackhead. Bootleg tunnels. There was a closed down bar in my hometown that was used by Al Capone during Prohibition. B12, hanging out with friend. Friend tells me he heard about an abandoned building in town that is haunted. We decide to check it out. Ride our bikes to it. No cars nearby. Look around the back, find the door. He tries the knob. It's locked. I try it. It opens. What the fuck? We silently look at each other. We are both close to noping out of there. Nut up and walk in. Door opens up to a wood stairway up to the 2nd floor. We try to tiptoe up. Complete silence except for the loud creaking of our footsteps. Every creak makes the hair on my neck stand up. Get close to the door at the top. Notice the wallboards have tiny gaps in them. We peek through into the second floor. Sunlight shining in. Hard to make out details. Room looks empty. Suddenly, my blood turns cold. See the figure of a man. He's sitting down, motionless and silent. What the fuck? He moves silently. Nope. We scramble down and out the first floor. Guy does not say anything, despite us waking the dead. Grab our bikes and leave. Silently agree that that was some spooky shit. Never talk about it. 20 years later, new friends say they want to go to a bar. They say the name. It's the Haunted Bar. The new owners open it up for tours and drinks. I agree to go, but don't tell them I've been there before. Find out it was an inn/brothel before the Civil War and a speakeasy during Prohibition. Closed down for decades by the time I was 13. Strange unexplained experiences. Non-extreme events that have never sat quite right in your mind. Summer of this year. Scored a geology internship and spent a week of it doing paleo-mag sampling. Working with my normal boss and his friend from back east. Sampling takes us further away from humanity than I've ever been. On the last day, we take our final samples along the slopes and the top of an elevated mesa. Have to hurry because the storm is slowly building. Water crisscrosses the road on the way out. We would be trapped for days. No cell service for the last 2 days. Not a ton of food. 20 miles to the last place where we saw someone. I'm a little on edge. Get on top of the mesa. Feel like I'm on top of the world. Very exposed, with darkening clouds above. Both eerie and awe-inspiring. Boss and friend stop the truck. Want to go on short hike to examine the section. They start out. I refill my water at the truck, and they get a head start. They've hiked a short distance across a bare exposure of uneven sandstone. No trail, but I follow in the same direction that I saw them leave. It isn't far to the edge of the mesa. Get 50 meters from the truck, climbing a rise. Sudden, very loud scraping sound, as if a huge object is being dragged across the bare rock. Lasts for several seconds, seems to be off to my left. I thought the truck had rolled off into the road or something. Can't even see a loose object bigger than my fist on the ground in any direction. I wander that direction and can't find a thing. Find boss and friend. Ask if they heard it, clearly a bit flustered. They look at me funny and say that they did not. Don't want to seem like a wimp, and don't bring it up ever again. Starts to rain, and we haul ass off of the mesa. I obviously felt exposed, and it was very quiet, but it sure sounded very loud and not very far. I don't have any idea as to what it could have been. Smoke a cigarette outside. All of a sudden, a football-shaped glowing ball appears out of thin air, moving very fast towards the ground. Before it hits the ground, it just disappears without a sound. Maybe it was ball lightning, but it was a cloudless night, and we did not have any storm in wakes. It was just fucking weird.